Welcome, everybody. Captain Matt, Boater's Secret Weapon, Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon, with our live brought to you by BoatLoanMatch.com. If you're financing a portion of your boat, we'll match you with the perfect lender, and we'll give you some free bonuses to help make sure you buy the right boat at the absolute best price. This is our live Q&A, an opportunity to ask me anything boating related while I'm on my treadmill getting a little healthier. So it is a double dipping of, what do you call it, efficiency for me. Get a little exercise, get to do my lives. And if you're new to the live, if you would just pop in, say hi, let me know where you're dialing in from, where you're watching from, maybe what kind of boat you have. And if you've got a question, just put it in the chat. And I will give you my best answer. I met to Kings of the City. How you doing? Good to have you. A regular listener. My daughter told me that I needed to move the camera so it's face on. So I'm looking at the screen. It doesn't look like I'm avoiding everybody. She thought that looked weird. So I may try to adjust that here as we're getting started. But again, if you got questions, just throw them in the chat. And I don't know if I can do this while I'm walking or not. Let's try this. Try to get a little bit more straight on shot. See how, oh, hey. Yeah, that might be better. So, got my screen. So, welcome everybody. MG, good afternoon to you as well. Glad to have you joining us on the live. Let's see, what do I have to talk about today? We talked yesterday, kind of rambled a lot about the state of the industry and the two different kind of things that are going on. Talked a little bit about the economy, where the consumers are at. I've got, let's see, what have we talked about recently that is going on in the news? Let's do boating news. Oh, let's talk about the Fort Lauderdale Boat Show. Is anybody going to the Fort Lauderdale show? Been to the show? Right now, they just kicked off yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, I think the official open. They might do an early VIP open on Tuesday, Wednesday, but I think open to the public yesterday. Let's see what's new at Soundings Trade Only. This is, if you're not aware, Soundings Trade Only is one of the major publications. Oh yeah, Marine Products. I saw they released their earnings the other day, as well as Lippert. Lippert Marine is a huge supplier of boat components. So they supply, I would guess it's in the majority of boat seats to pontoon manufacturers. They've got seating. They've got, they bought up Sureshade. They've just been buying different component manufacturers over the last 10 years. And now they're probably the largest supplier of marine parts and accessories to boat builders. And then they also have some aftermarket stuff. Marine Products is Chaparral Robalo. So let's look at, just while we're here, let's look at just a quick net sales. Third quarter increased 7% year over year to $53 million. And that was just released today. So how did I see that yesterday? Maybe I saw it. Maybe I saw their official press release. Net sales up for Chaparral Robalo. And so you've got bow riders, luxury premium bow riders, mid-tier center consoles and dual consoles, and year over year, 7%, primarily due to price and mix increase by 7%. So selling and building fewer of the lower price models, building more of the higher price, and then increasing prices, not having to discount as much because they're moving that aged inventory through, and they're getting more to a fair market value, kind of equilibrium on the pricing. Field inventories have returned to more balanced level. That's what all manufacturers are looking for right now, is how do we make sure that we're positioned to get as many of the boat sales as we possibly can in 2026, but not have so much inventory that we're discounting and we're deflating the value of our boats and putting our dealers in a financial tough position. End of quarter was approximately 6% below the prior year. They're not going to give the percentage, but they really, this time of year, they would like their 2025 models to be around 10-15% is probably about right now. No, Lippert has really gotten into the marine game. We'll dive into them next, but Lippert has gone really strong into the marine segment, but they've been around in the RV segment for a long time, and a very big company that a lot of people in the boating space don't know about. Third quarter results reflect the increase in sales over the prior year period. Cautiously optimistic that we've reached a turning point. Dealer inventory is adjusted to stabilizing demand, encouraged by the strong interest in our larger boats. That's that price and mix increase. So we're selling more higher price boats, or maybe fewer but higher price boats to get that volume increase. Let's see. Initial positive feedback on our 26 model year. Finance buyers continue to be more restrained. So that mid-tier segment, that's why they're pushing more of the higher end boats. People that, like we talked about yesterday in my rambling, that people with money have a lot of money, a lot of disposable money. And if they want a boat, they're going to buy a boat, but they're going to buy exactly what they want, probably bigger, probably more premium brand like a Chaparral. And the people that are going to buy $100,000 boat and finance, well, those people are still maybe on the sidelines a little bit more if they're trying to stretch to buy that $100,000 boat, or maybe they're just buying a $50,000 used boat and not having to finance. Gross profit was up $10 million, 11% year over year. Again, less discounting. Gross margin 19.2%, up 80 basis points. So up 80 bips there. Improved with target incentives, stabilized production. Yeah. So gross margin of a boat dealer, they shoot to be around 20%. That's kind of their sweet spot. On the dealer side, 15 to 20% on that. So resulting in improved manufacturer cost absorption, the company said. So a big thing for manufacturers is to be stable with their production and knowing what they can. So let's say you've got $10 million is your fixed cost per year. If you build 100 boats, well, that's, $100,000 per boat. If you build 500 boats, now we just cut that down to $20,000 per boat, much more sustainable. And when going in, you can set up your production lines to be, all right, we're going to build 10 boats a week, okay? So we're going to build 2 boats a day, and we're going to run 5 days a week, and we can do that on 2 lines of production, okay? Or we can do 30 boats, and we can do that on 3 lines of production, whatever the build time is. But now they can get their labor to match what they need to build, and they can be more consistent instead of having to hire people, lay off people, hire people, lay off people, or worse, production line going, and then we got to pause and we got to wait because we don't want to build more boats. We don't want to flood the inventory. And I was in Knoxville, it's been several months. I want to say maybe even August, but drove by the Sea Ray facility, the Yamaha facility, the Mastercraft facility, almost any boat manufacturer. If you drive by, you're going to see boats that are done and shrink wrapped because the dealers don't want them on their lots yet, or they've just built the inventory and they're, depending on who it is, like Yamaha can do this. They can build the inventory because they don't allow the dealers to customize them. Dealers order the model that they want, and then they get one of the 3 color options. They don't usually get to choose, and then they'll ship them. But they're stacking up at the manufacturer level, and that's because they don't want to be up and down with their production. They want a nice smooth line. That stabilized production is more efficient and better quality typically, because you got the same people doing their 8-hour shift, doing the same job, quality controls in line, and it's a smooth running machine versus what was happening during the pandemic is it was on, it was off, it was this person, it was that person, and there was no stable flow. So board of directors declared a cash dividend. Interesting that they're giving a dividend right now instead of reinvesting in the industry or in the business. So that's Marine Products, Chaparral, Robalo. Let's go to Lippert. Lippert is, I don't know what their split is. I would guess Kings in the City that they're still over 50% RV. But they might even say in here, parent company of Lippert, strong third quarter earnings, net sales up 13% to $1 billion. That's promising. Well, let's see what they say. But I'm thinking, hey, if the components are increasing, maybe we're seeing that kind of nice, everybody's finding their groove on the manufacturing side of how much they should be producing. Reported net income of $62 million. Operating profit, $75 million. 7% margin. So what is that? 14, call it 15 million maybe. Company attributed results, diversified business strategy, increased demand. So builders are finding their sweet spot of where they want to be, and it's up from where it was a little bit. Diversification strategy continued to fundamentally contribute to our strong performance. That diversification is partly into the marine space, drove strong margin expansion, meaningful increase, adjusted earnings per share of 42%. Let's see. Jason Lippert, CEO, family-owned business. Family-run business, I should say. Our leadership teams work diligently to optimize. I don't know if we're going to get the break. Strong performance as the cycle. OEM net sales rose 15%. So that's OEM in all segments that they support. Operating profit, $43 million compared to $21 million same period. Aftermarket sales increased 7%. I was actually wondering if that was going to be what buoyed them, is the aftermarket sales, that people are keeping their boats longer, and therefore they're spending the money on, hey, we're gonna upgrade, put the Sure Shade on, we're gonna upgrade and put the new seats in, we're gonna upgrade and add some electronics or something like that. But that is what, 25% of their business about. So that's a smaller portion. Operating profit, $31 million, flat compared to company projects October net sales to be approximately $380 million, up 15% from the prior year. Deliver 85% BIPS profit margin for the full year. All right, so we're not going to get what percentage Lippert is marine versus RV revenue. Let's see if we can get an answer from the Googleator. Revenue from the RV, marine revenue is much smaller, falling under the adjacent industries segment. Makes us minority of sales. Let's take a look at this. OEM RVs, 47%. Remains Lippert's core, largest market, much smaller portion of the revenue. Let's see if we can get some AI kicking in here. OEM equipment revenue, 50%. All right. Well, I don't think we're going to get the answer without some serious digging. But anyway, Lippert brands in marine. Okay, so they've got Lewmar anchors, tailor-made windshields, fenders, dock products, SureShade, the big shade systems, Trend Marine. I'm not sure what that is. Friedman. Again, if you've got questions, just throw them in the chat. Furrion, also presence in the marine industry. Air conditioning. Okay, Trend manufactures high quality marine glazing systems, windshield and salon doors. Friedman seating, various vehicles. And they've acquired almost all of these these businesses in the last, I'll say 10 years for sure. Should have wore a costume today. All right. Yeah, I was at IBEX a couple years ago when they were introducing their electric power pole that they developed. They also had a anchoring system for pontoons that they were rolling out. Brock, how you doing? Welcome. Docking, so actual dock components, appliances, furniture, electronics. What? Simrad? They didn't buy Simrad, did they? Who did they buy? Discover. Marine Audio and TVs. No, they bought Furrion. They bought is it Humminbird? Is that who it was that they SureShade, dock, marine appliances, boat maintenance, flags and pennants. Maybe it was. Who am I getting that mixed up with? I thought somebody bought, maybe it was Brunswick that bought them. Who bought Humminbird? Marine. Johnson Outdoors, publicly traded. No, that's not what I was thinking. I could have swore there was somebody big got scooped up. Anyway, owned by John. There you go. Who did these Google when you got Brock on the line? Johnson. Should just ask you first when it comes to that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's what's going on. If we got any questions, be happy to answer any questions. It's Halloween. We've got every year we do a Halloween cookout, so I got to go get the garage cleaned out, get the hot dogs and hamburgers and the grill all set up, and do that. But if you've got to commit to a half hour. So I got 10 minutes to give you. If you got questions, throw them in the chat. If not, I'm going to keep rambling about something. See if anybody else released earnings. If you know anybody, I'll throw this out there. If you know anybody that's interested in investing in a marine manufacturing business, they told me they're looking for around $1 million to raise $1 million for expansion. And what's interesting is right now is it's counterintuitive a little bit, but when you think about it, it makes sense that now is a great time to invest in the marine industry when you're on the downward slide with the more of a startup, because if you can run lean and get through that downward cycle and you start building your brand, building your systems, building the client base, and then as the industry comes back, which it will, it's a 7 to 9 year cycle. So, usually the down is pretty quick. The up is pretty slow. So you've got 2 years on the down. You hit about the bottom in the third year, and then you start coming out the fifth, sixth, seventh year. And that's about where there are, is to be like 4 or 5 years in, maybe 6 years in. I got to look at the specifics, but where the industry should be coming back and they can get by with a very, very low burn rate, doing very small numbers to start building everything up, the infrastructure and the network and all that. So pretty good opportunity if you or somebody that is interested in investing at that level. All right, so I just noticed this. Tensions ease. So let's see. We talked about tariffs the other day as well, and how we're starting to see that hit, and hitting prices and being eaten by the manufacturers to a certain level. Jinping limited trade truce following their first in-person meeting in 6 years. Immediate tensions that hurt both economies. Yep. U.S. cutting tariffs on China by 10%, Trump said, in exchange for a promise of China to take very strong action on chemicals use to produce fentanyl, following very strong action on chemicals used to produce fentanyl. Following the reductions, tariff imports will still average 47%. So easing, but not eliminating. I'm curious. I wonder how much of Lippert's product comes from China specifically. Reduced tariff positive impact. Agreed. Measures are aimed at reducing the risk of sudden increase in cost involving imports from China. Beijing in turn said it will ease year-long restrictions on exports of processed rare earth minerals for 1 year. Stuff for batteries. Restrictions badly hurt U.S. businesses. China also agreed to purchase American soybeans. Move welcomed by U.S. farmers. Lost sales amid the trade dispute. China's Commerce Ministry confirmed the main point of the agreement, including the soybean purchases, cooperation on fentanyl, easing of rare earth export controls. Ministry also said both sides agreed to suspend for 1 year new restrictions targeting subsidiaries of already blacklisted entities. Not sure what that means. Interesting. So, you knew it was a negotiating tactic. Whether it worked or not, I don't know. Whether it will continue to work, but in the short term, it is wreaking some havoc since it's lasted so long. I did a video. The Fed's cut the rate today, so loans should be cheaper. I did not hear that. Fed fund rates. Fed fund rate stands between. Fed cut the interest second time this year. Okay, so that was a couple days ago. How did I miss that? That's crazy. I need to get my head in the game here. Federal Reserve cuts its benchmark. So if you're out there now, it takes some time. The Fed fund rate is the rate that banks borrow from the government, right? When that gets cheaper, it tends to, it's not a direct correlation, but oftentimes, depending on what's going on in the market, it leads to slightly lower mortgage rates. It's not a direct correlation, but oftentimes it can happen. And then because banks can borrow cheaper, they'll lend it slightly cheaper. It's a way to get more money out in the system. So we should see boat loans tick down. Now, It's not going to be a percentage point. It's not going to be a half a point, but maybe an eighth to a quarter. So if you've got 8% interest rate on your boat loan and you want to look at refinancing, boat loan match can do that as well. There is the option to get matched with a refinance lender. So far behind at work with computer control boards. It's not even funny. Certain board that only comes from China right now currently has a suitable sub. Yeah, that's the area where, like, and I don't know. I disagree on the way Trump handles himself as president. I don't get into the policy. Like, I don't understand it. It's over my head. Probably not a great thing, but that's just the way it is. And very little interest in politics. But part of the issue with the tariffs is, hey, we can't be 100% reliant on China for anything. If there's, control boards that you can only get from there and there's no suitable option in the short term, it's the worst, right? But in the long term, maybe it allows somebody else to enter the game and have an option from another country, maybe even in the U.S., maybe not. But if I had some extra cash, I know where I would invest it right now. I'm going to, Rock, you're going to have to fill me in. You can private DM me. Let me know where your mind's at. But anyway, I didn't hear that. I appreciate you bringing that up, Kings of the City. That is something that, every little bit of prices settling in, dropping a little bit, interest rates dropping a little bit, makes everything more affordable, makes used boats start selling a little bit more, makes new boats sell a little bit more. Everything's a little bit more active, and it could be a positive sign. Yeah, Brock's he's always friendly and open with his knowledge. With this, he's like just dangling in front of us and just messing with us. He's like, I don't know if he's going crypto, what he's got going on. Maybe he's going gold, just waiting for things to go haywire. But all right, so that is, let's see, we did Fed fund, we did financials, we picked on Brock a little bit. Yeah, so obligated cash, invest, tactical cable business, and control my. Okay, I got it. So there's going to be some opportunities in his inside industry. Interesting. So that will hopefully, yeah. And it's so weird because it's things you don't even think about. Like, I don't know where your control modules go and your tactical cables, but I'm sure that's being used in a product or this is happening through a bunch of different areas where that one bottleneck is then causing problems with a product that's more like everyday known. And you don't always tie it back to what's going on with China and the trade stuff. So, all right. Well, I'm at 29 minutes here. Let's see. We buy cables from suppliers that are long, Cat 6 shielded. Holy crap. That's a pretty good bit for per foot. A Cat 6. Cat 6, is it the cheap tin that they have over there, or cheap copper, I guess is what it is? That doesn't China do like a majority of the copper in the world? I remember researching that for one of my videos. You can make millions just on that one alone. I love it. It's kind of like me when I get on these talking about boats. I'll get on a topic that I'm just like, oh man, I could talk about this forever. And everybody's got their little expertise that they're like, oh, if you only knew what was really going on. So, all right, guys. Well, happy Halloween, everybody. Hope you have a fun one if you're out trick-or-treating with little ones or having a few beers, watching the little one come up, getting some candy from you. It's always a fun night. We do a little party here, little cookout, and and have a couple cocktails, see all the kids, young kids in the neighborhood. My oldest is going off with friends. My youngest hasn't decided what she's doing, but I can't imagine the lure of free candy will keep her at home. So we'll see. But happy Halloween, everybody. We'll talk to you on Monday. Have a good one.